So hey y'all, I'm back with another video. So tonight's video is yet again another Chioma Chats video podcast edition. So by the title, we're going to be talking about rapper Flo Milly insinuating that colorism isn't the reason why she isn't as mainstream as other female rappers, and she does not want people to continuously use her name to compare to other artists. So this all started with a viral tweet. I swear viral tweets are the new golden tickets to content topics because all it takes is a viral tweet, and here we are doing commentary and ruffling feathers. Anyway, the comparison at hand is between Ice Spice and Flo Milly. And I find this to be very interesting because Ice Spice has been compared to so many other artists ever since she came out. I mean, just like a year ago, it was between Ice Spice versus Cali and who was the better artist. And I think this kind of goes to show that the general public doesn't really approve of Ice Spice's career in the way how she was rapidly catapulted into fame based off of what her actual talent is and what she puts out. I like Ice Spice. I think her music is cool. She pretty much doesn't bother anybody, but I do understand why people are making these comparisons because, to be honest, it is kind of coincidental that she is this big, but there's definitely some factors why. So Flo Milly is a rap artist out of Mobile, Alabama, and she has risen to relevance pretty gradually, and she's actually been a good contender in the female rap game. She has a distinct voice, unique flow, has collaborated with other known artists, and she was featured on the XXL freshman list in 2022. Flo Milly to me is underrated because I feel like when we ask for versatility or just a different visual of what we want in female rap artists, she does provide that. So to see her kind of still in the mid-range of popularity within the genre, I definitely would consider her still underrated. So what's happening here is that we're having these comparison conversations again, and I'm actually here for it. People want everybody to just shut up and take what's put in front of us, but I think people should stop trying to silence people because there is a reason why people want to compare the career, rise, and trajectory of different artists, because a lot of people are waking up and realizing that there are a lot of artists who are mainstream that don't necessarily give much of anything but mediocre music and boobs and butt. I'm not saying that this is wrong or right, I'm just saying that this is what it is. Flo Milly basically pulled a Cash Doll, and she's been stating that she is good and colorism doesn't necessarily affect her career, and she's kind of irritated with the narrative that her dark skin is a hindrance despite her being pretty successful. Now, a few years ago, Cash Doll, who was a rapper out of Detroit, basically said the same thing. I actually feel like Cash Doll is underrated as well, and I mean like really underrated. The girl has bars, she has a voice that is distinct, she has a voice that you're not gonna get anywhere else because that Detroit style of talking is just completely different. Now, I live in Northwest Ohio, so Detroit is literally down the street from me, so I'm kind of more privy to that Detroit sound, but I still think that Cash Doll is underrated. And I feel like both her and Flo Milly and many other female rap artists of a certain complexion don't get the recognition that they deserve due to many factors. One being what they look like. So 4 or so years ago, I did a video on Cash Doll making comments about colorism, and here's what I had to say. So recently, Cash Doll decided to say something very, I would say, is ignorant. And if Cash Doll is clearly a dark-skinned girl that you can see from the images on the screen, and she said something very, very ignorant. So Cash Doll decided to say, "I don't believe in colorism, I'm sorry." Or maybe I haven't ran into that problem yet. First of all, I don't believe that Cash Doll has never experienced colorism. I just don't. I really don't. So I don't believe that she's never experienced colorism. I feel like she just tried to say that to just come off as nonchalant or just unaccountable for things. That way she can seem like she's above it all. Now, Cash Doll, you don't believe in colorism. Okay, sis, let me just talk to you real quick. First and foremost, this all started when other female rapper Bianca, who is also dark skinned, you guys may know her from the girl who's chicken noodle soup. Hey, chicken noodle soup, chicken noodle soup. What is on the side? I let her rain. Hey, and I clear it out. So Bianca was really just going on a rampage on Instagram, basically just saying like, you know, it's harder for a dark skinned girl to do anything. You have to work twice as hard in this industry to be seen as equal to maybe your other female counterparts who don't quite look like you. And I completely agree because I've said it again and again and again, and I'm not about to switch up my stance because of anybody. I believe her. It is harder for women of darker shades to get the same opportunities. So to turn around and see that Flo Milly is kind of mimicking that same ordeal that Cash Doll put out is a bit cringy because I feel like what she's trying to do is deflect from being problematic, which is perfectly fine. I get it. But I don't think disregarding something that is an obvious reality is okay either. How many videos have I done about colorism and especially how it pertains to the entertainment industry. And some people are tired of this conversation, but it's because it's still very, very prevalent that darker skinned female entertainers get underlooked by not just the industry, but also the general public that I keep talking. So of course, y'all knew I was coming with this topic, but I did really want to talk about this because it's actually shocking to see her take this on. And of course, I like to continue the conversations about disparities in entertainment, especially when it deals with Black women. So I've broken this video down into one overall main talking point. So without further ado, let's get right into this video. So my one and only point is Flo Milly, colorism definitely affects you. Like, let's just start there. I get what she's trying to do. She is trying to deflect from being problematic. She doesn't want to feel as though she's a victim. She doesn't want to cause people to drag her for stating something like this. But it definitely does a disservice to her, as well as other darker skinned female artists that do speak about colorism and have acknowledged the disparity, because to deny that it occurs to you is kind of denying that it occurs to others. So let's read an article and tweets that Flo Milly put out in regards to this conversation. So according to NIGERIAN, it says, with the rise in prominence of female MCs, the topic of colorism has come up almost every other week. Flo Milly is tired of being used as the token brown-skinned artist to degrade other female rappers on the rise. Unfortunately, when people attempt to point out the lack of talent in an artist with a lighter complexion, Flo Milly gets brought up as deserving of more shine. On May 12th, the conceited rapper went on social media to ask fans to stop pushing false narratives about her career. She said, "I wish y'all would stop with this tired-ass narrative y'all love to push about my career. The RIAA Gold certified musician has seen great success with her music. Last year, her album, You Still Here Ho, debuted and peaked at number 78 on the US Billboard 200. Shortly after, she embarked on her nationwide headlining Girls Just Wanna Have Fun tour with Mona Leo. I love Mona Leo, by the way. This year, the Alabama-bred MC took the stage at Coachella and Something in the Water. So why do fans talk about Flo Milly like she's not successful? People claim that she deserves more shine as if she lacks support. The In the Party rapper is a viral sensation who is only 23. Therefore, she has much more time to grow and is doing so with every release." A Twitter user then says, "I know Flo Milly and the other dark-skinned women rappers are tired of being used as Twitter talking points. Please just support those girls organically. Run them streams up, show up to shows, buy some merchandise." The article continues and says, "The conversation heated up after Billboard crowned Ice Spice the new princess of rap in its latest cover story issue. Many people on social media disagree with the claims because they attribute her success to colorism. Unfortunately, female rappers have many more hurdles than their male counterparts, and this conversation seems to be one of the biggest ones." Flo Milly tweets again and says, "And stop mentioning me while trying to degrade another artist. It's weird." She also said, "I'm doing great. I went from being broke to traveling the world with my talent, and I'm only 23. Please relax." The article closes by saying, "Each female rapper should be able to enjoy their journey as a musician. Colorism does exist, but women like Flo Milly can still flourish without constantly being reminded of the facts. If you believe an artist should be more significant than what they are, do your part to support them. Doing that without bringing down other artists will help them more than anything." Okay, so back to me. So all of this is good and dandy, but my question to everyone listening is, when people make comparisons, does that automatically equate to degrading or putting somebody down? Like, if I say I prefer jelly on my sandwich versus peanut butter, am I saying that peanut butter is horrible, disgusting, and undeserving of my taste buds? I genuinely want to know, because I feel like there's always this narrative that we can't have conversations about multiple subjects at the same time without it being taken as hurtful to the other person. So just some food for thought, and I would love to hear y'all's feedback. So I think it's actually fascinating how much Ice Spice is the topic of conversations in regards to if she's a good artist, questions about her come up, how she's been able to surpass other artists, and then some. I mean, this is like the 5th video in the last month or so in which she's mentioned in regards to questions about talent and fame. I think that's very telling of how people truly view Ice Spice versus what narrative was put out for people to consume. And of course, she has a fan base and y'all are gonna defend her. Nobody's taking anything away from what she has done in such a short amount of time, but people are very obviously saying that how is it that somebody like her, whose musical quality doesn't exponentially exceed other female rappers who have been out longer and have more bodies of work? And I think that's a fair question. People want to say it's about how she marketed herself and how she went viral and took advantage of her moment, but I feel like every other artist who went viral also did the same thing, and some of them sank and some of them swam. For example, have y'all realized that people don't necessarily really talk about Glorilla as much as they were, even though Glorilla and Ice Spice were the most viral sensations in female rap music last summer? It's actually crazy. It's almost like Ice Spice kind of overtook Glorilla's momentum, even though I still think they both did exceptionally well. Glorilla is still a fair-skinned woman, but there were always always questions about her look, her body shape. People were trying to put surgery on her, and because she is pretty much a caricature of the ghetto or hood girl aesthetic, people don't deem her as polished. But when you look at Ice Spice, it's clearly obvious that her appeal is different. She has the look, she has the body, she has the skin shade, and I think with her having almost like this I was doing well before fame type of thing also played a good role. I believe Ice Spice was in college for a year or two studying nursing. She was also supposedly a pretty good volleyball player that played for her college team, and some of that does appeal to audiences. Like Meg Thee Stallion kind of differentiates herself because she always pushed the college girl thing, which I'm definitely in favor of. Now let's talk about some darker skinned artists or some non-conventionally attractive artists who went viral, took advantage of the moment, marketing themselves, but didn't pan out like Ice Spice. I mean, off rip, Flo Milli is a prime example. A few of her songs were really popular on TikTok, and this definitely pushed her career. She's doing well, she performs for large audiences. Like I said, she's been awarded with certain opportunities because of her talent, but I don't think Flo Milli is the name that people even bring up when they talk about female rappers as fast as they do others. I'm more inclined to mention other names versus Flo Milli. Another individual is Callie. Callie was the one who had the song which blew up all over TikTok. I feel like everybody was singing that song. And I remember when it first came out, I think I was in Atlanta or something, and that song and Throat Baby just kept going. And then the song was remixed by big name artists such as Lotto and Moneybagg Yo, and I felt like Callie was gonna get really pushed because yes, she's dark skinned, but she also has the look, the body, and the uniqueness. But Callie is still relevant, but she's kind of floating. She's not getting the Ice Spice push, even though she had a viral song just as good as Ice Spice is. She has the look, she has the body, she has the sex appeal. She literally has the female rapper starter package. So let me reiterate. Flo Milli, colorism definitely affects you, and here's my one thesis statement as to why it does. Colorism affects her and other artists with a similar look as her because for the most part, all of them are doing the same thing, rapping about the same thing, have a lot of similar appeal physically, and all are a part of the same industry, but only certain people are promoted faster, higher, and more favorably before some of the others. And if I could look and say, well, I think the difference is this girl's bars are just not good, or this girl doesn't have the right team, or this girl hasn't had a huge record, then I can literally say it's one of those things. But the main difference, and some will argue the only difference, is the fact that some of them are light-skinned and some of them are not. People always want to throw bones and say, oh, well, you have this dark-skinned artist, you have this other dark-skinned artist, but it's like, do we really, or do we just know about them because they had a good enough buzz to be known within the industry, but not a big enough push and reception from audiences to be solidified in the industry? Let's even look at some of the female rappers that are considered mainstream. Between Megan Thee Stallion, Nicki Minaj, Cardi B, Saweetie, Lotto, both of the City Girls, JT and Young Miami, Coi Leray, Doja Cat, and Ruby Rose. I just named 10 very well-known female rap artists that are active right now, and out of those 10, only 3 of them failed a brown paper bag test. Only 3 of them would be considered brown or dark skin, Meg Thee Stallion and both of the City Girls. So let's really talk about statistics before we talk about feelings, because everybody always wants to say, oh, it doesn't happen to me, or you guys are reaching, or why are you hating on this artist? But it's not really hate, it's just simply facts. If 7 out of 10 mainstream female rappers are not brown skin or dark skin, then there is a problem. There is room to confirm that there is a colorist approach to what gets promoted, because now you can consider Ice Spice mainstream. And when you add her into the equation, it doesn't tip the scale to be equal. It literally shows the disparity between what is promoted. I could list you 10 brown or darker skinned female rappers right now that deserve to be on the mainstream list. And I wish people would stop trying to make it seem like people are saying to take away these light skinned girls or take away these racially ambiguous women, because it's not about that. It's about the fact that there's not an equal shot for somebody based off of their darker complexion, and that is just the fact of the matter. I feel like what Flo Milli is trying to say is that she does not realize how much it affects her because she is successful. However, there are tiers and levels to success. Let's just say there are 3 tiers to fame and female rap culture. The lowest being underground, the middle being mid-ground or come up or has a buzz, and then the highest being mainstream. There are so many darker skinned rappers that are sitting on those bottom 2 levels, and it's almost like a glass ceiling. You try to break it, you try to break it, you try to break it. The crack spreads very, very long for a long time. And for some people, the crack does eventually crack. And we do get some of the women that do go higher, but it's very few and far between depending on what you look like. Because yes, you could be dark skinned or brown skinned and make it mainstream, but now it's going to be, do you have the look? Between Meg Thee Stallion and the City Girls, Meg Thee Stallion actually naturally has the body type that people want to see in female rappers, so it does help her cascade higher up. And I do think that Meg Thee Stallion's talent also backs her up because the girl can actually rap, unlike many others, but it's all still a package deal. And people have to acknowledge the fact that it's not just about the talent, your looks do play a role. And then when you look at the city girls, I mean, they changed their bodies to fit a look and have even admitted that that's the reason why they did so that they could fulfill the role of the image of a female rapper. I think the real issue is that colorism may be blind to certain brown skin or dark skin girls because they're not seeing the underside and the underbelly to how it actually restricts them. Like I said earlier, because Flo Milli is successful and she's not broke and she's been recognized, it's going to seem like her skin doesn't hinder her. But we all know that she could be further if she looked different. Same thing went for Cash Doll when I spoke about her like 4 years ago. I don't really think colorism is something somebody can escape. It's like what just comes with being a darker skinned individual. And just to make sure I say this, it's definitely not just reserved to black people. I think colorism is prevalent in like every single ethnic group. I guess for white people, it is reverse colorism. If you're too white or too pale and not tan enough, you're not deemed as pretty. And yes, there's no such thing as reverse colorism. I'm just being silly. But it's interesting just to see how this affects every person of color. But in the black community, we'll either have one side that is full-blown aware of it and another side that likes to deflect, neglect, and project. In Flo Milli's case, I refuse to believe that she doesn't realize it affects her. I think she's just falling in line and not speaking too crazy because she doesn't want to be labeled bitter, jealous, and every other terminology they throw on brown skin and dark skin women for speaking on colorism. I've seen too many darker skinned women get mercilessly antagonized just for existing in dark skin, which obviously is something nobody can control. I also don't think colorism is always obvious. It's an intangible thing that just happens, and it's kind of ingrained in black ethnic groups to the point where it could affect you when you may not realize it. Colorism isn't just not liking somebody or talking down on somebody because they're dark skinned. That's the part of it that we can see. But colorism is also the systemic overall discrimination for a darker skin tone that does cause a lack of opportunities and a lack of consideration. Flo Milli may be brought up in conversations in music executive boardrooms, but dismissed for certain projects or sponsorships or opportunities because she's not what they're looking for, but she would never know that's the case because that's how colorism works behind the scenes. To kind of close out, if you ask me, the reason why Ice Spice seems to be the topic of conversations in regards to people thinking she has mediocre music is because the titles that have been given to her are very, very tall titles, like very, very tall orders. To consider Ice Spice the princess of rap is very much a reach. And I don't even dislike her, but how could somebody who hasn't even been mainstream for a full 365 days be the princess of an entire genre of music that has been alive longer than she has? You don't just get handed that title. So I don't think people who draw these comparisons are even speaking from a place of hating on Ice Spice. I think they're speaking from a place of feeling like there are blatant examples of certain looks of women or certain types of women being awarded before others or being praised higher than others, where the consensus is that these other artists are better, more talented, have better songs, or whatever. I think people are just kind of confused because Ice Spice and her rise to success was very rapid, and that's one thing, but to garnish and embellish her with certain titles is definitely kind of off-putting to a lot of people. There are people who genuinely are fans of female rap music altogether who would never put Ice Spice in the category of princess of rap. I really don't even think anybody holds the title at this moment because I was gonna give it to Doja Cat, but it's like she doesn't even care about music, so what's the point of calling her the princess of rap? Either way, colorism definitely exists for dark-skinned women in entertainment, whether it's acting, rapping, singing, dancing, whatever. It's there. I'm gonna end off with a clip from a show on VH1 from a while back. Honestly, I don't remember the name of the show, but it was singer Just Brittany performing for Rick Ross and other music industry people, and all I can say is colorism is definitely alive and well, and this example is a prime example.
Your future bright, shorty, your future bright.
The music was bright.
Smartest move of my life.
Yo. That wasn't the best platform for your voice.
Nope.
You have a unique voice. And Britt did sound better than yours. Your future bright, shorty, your future bright.
The music was bright.
Smartest move of my life.
Yo. That wasn't the best platform for your voice.
Nope.
You have a unique voice. And Britt did sound better than yours.
So that is it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed. Please let me know your commentary on my commentary down below. What do you think? What do you know? Let me know. If you haven't already streamed my song Ceremony, it is out on all platforms. Make sure y'all run it up. And thank you to everybody who's been streaming. And lastly, don't forget to follow me on all of my social media networks. And I will see y'all in my next video. Bye, y'all.
Hey, yo, baby, tell him Chioma